Hello and welcome to Chargers Talk 4630. I'm Stacey Mallory and this is Cal D. And we welcome you for joining us today. And if this is your first time here, I'm happy you joined us. And we'll be grateful if you decide to join our community. Thank you to everyone that subscribed and continue to help us grow. And for the ones that haven't, I would appreciate it before you exit this podcast that you do so. This way, you'll be notified whenever we go live or release the latest content. You can also hear us wherever you get your podcasts. And last, please go to your browser and check out more Chargers content from some great writers, along with myself on stormcloud.blog, which is run by my friend and one of our own, Cal D. Cal, how you doing this morning, man?
That was a little rougher wake up than the last couple weeks, man. But we're hanging in there. You know, there's still reason to be optimistic, I think, in the long run. But how are you doing, Stacey?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. You know, I wasn't quick to make any predictions because I wanted to see first. I wanted to see how they're going to look. I know the first 2 weeks they've been kind of bullies and they had their way in the fourth quarter and been able to close out games. But we went up against a team that's historically known for doing that. They are the bullies. And if you want to get into a fight, you better be up to the task because somebody like the Steelers will answer the challenge every time. You know what I mean? Even the first two games, they didn't look too great, but they were winning really, really ugly. But they got up for this one because it was the Chargers, it was Jim Harbaugh, and they start getting media attention. And they got up for this one. And it didn't disappoint.
Yeah, if you're playing a team that's getting a lot of press about playing a certain way, and it's the way that you pride yourself in playing through physicality, through toughness, through breaking people's will in the fourth quarter, that's all bulletin board material, man. If you hear that all week, and that was their home opener, right?
Yes,
is that what you were saying before? Yeah. With that being their home opener, you're like, okay, this is our chance to set our tone, reestablish who we are. Now, guys, we're kind of, I don't want to say impersonating yet, but there is an element of we're faking it till we make it with this new culture, this new identity. It's going to take a little bit for that kind of physicality and that kind of mentality to set in with this roster. It's very hard to compete with a team that has been, ingrained that kind of physicality and built around that kind of physicality really with the Steelers for decades.
Yes.
It's not the kind of thing we're going to be able to turn over in one off season, but I mean, I was hoping for a little more than what we did have.
Yeah. I tempered my expectations a little bit because for a while after those first 2 weeks, it's like, wow, this is what Harbaugh does. This is what he does everywhere. But when you look at how it started changing in the second half and we didn't respond to that, and the play calling changed, because I was saying to my son at halftime, it was still an even match. It was like a heavyweight bout. Both teams taking shots and head blows and body blows, and who's going to blink first? And we were waiting to see what was going to happen the second half. Okay, we come out, they do a drive, and we held them to a field goal. We had a couple of penalties that hurt us that extended that drive. We shouldn't even have got a field goal. Once we got the ball back, I think that was when the tide changed. They kicked it into the end zone. And how with the new rules on the kickoffs, they're right up there already. And I was surprised that he caught it, Darius Davis, in the middle of the end zone, and he took it out. It's better to start at the 25 than to start at the 9-yard line.
Yeah.
But I got a couple of highlights to show where you could see they started all pretty good, and when the tide started to change. I mean, you look at this play here, Asante Samuel. This was big here because he has to make that tackle. It was 3rd and 4. You get off the field, and he's very fortunate to keep the ball. Here's the thing that surprised me the most on this drive. You're deep down here. There were no running plays. None. 3 straight drop back pass, and I think that hurt a lot. Sequence there. I think one of the things that happened, Greg Roman uncharacteristically got away from the run. That was our strength. And when you're pinned all the way down by the 5-yard line and you go 3 straight passes when your line is being overwhelmed and Alt is going out and Slater's going out and Pipkins being put at left guard, I'm surprised he didn't go back to that run game. And you can't forget who you are. And I think at that point, they forgot who they were. When I was saying I was waiting for somebody to blink, Well, he blinked. I don't care if you're not getting positive yards on the ground. You can't just drop back. And I mean, it wasn't plays designed to just a little slant across the middle with McConkey so you can get rid of it quick. He stepped back in that pocket and had a good 4 or 5 seconds where he's just standing there before the hit came. And I'm like, I didn't, you know, I usually don't criticize this coaching staff. I love this coaching staff. I love Harbaugh, and I still do. And I'm not giving up on them like I see a lot of other people on X. I didn't go on. I went on and I saw, you know, it was blood in the water, and I didn't want to jump in because everybody is emotional right now and very angry and upset, you know. But it's only week 3. I'm hoping that not only the coaching staff and the players, they all learn from it. That was the experience. We want to be the bullies. You were the first 2 weeks, but you went up against one of the bullies that have been doing it for decades. And hopefully they learned something from it. They can bounce back.
Yeah, I'm not going to harp on this too much, Stacey, because I didn't make a big deal of it last week. And it's because I don't want to question or second guess this coaching staff. Jim Harbaugh gets a very, very long leash before you're going to start hearing me complain about his decision-making and things that, and his way of doing things. I love Harbaugh. I love what we're building, and I love the direction of the franchise right now. This was a rare misstep just for me personally. You may have, I briefly mentioned it last week that when Herbert was hurt, I wish they would have just kind of brought him out and let him see, hey, Justin, you don't need to be Superman every week. This team can operate without you. We can move the football. Now, granted, we didn't when he did come out, but that in my mind should have trickled into this week. And I just wish the team was told from Monday and on, hey, Justin's hurt. We're going to give him a rest week. We're going to let him recover. And we're starting Taylor, or we're starting Stick. I don't think that would have been the conversation. It would have been Taylor. But give Taylor the whole week. Yeah, Heineke as the starter. Don't play games about it. Don't let everyone wonder what's going to happen. Let the mentality set in there. Hey, we got to pick it up. We got to smash the Steelers in the mouth, and we're going to do it together. And here's our simplified game plan. This kind of dipping half in, half out, where Herbert got some time off. So I'm sure Taylor did get a good amount of reps, but the team was still hoping and counting on Justin playing this Sunday. I don't think that did us any good. I think, as I said before, we are looking down the barrel of Justin Herbert exhibiting more Carson Wentz tendencies than even Andrew Luck, or what we really want is a Peyton Manning or a Tom Brady. And I'm not talking about skill or style per se. I'm talking about the ability to prolong his career and to take care of himself and to live to fight another down. Jim Harbaugh said in the post-game conference that it was on him to pull Justin out, and that he never expects Justin to hold himself out of a game or to take himself out of a game. And that's exactly right. Jim's got to own that now and realize that it's not going to come from Justin for him to say, I'm not going to play on Sunday. Jim's got to say, we're going to put the rest of our season in jeopardy if you go out there and we don't let this thing heal. And now we're looking down at the Chiefs wondering, should he play? Personally, I don't think he should. If we go into the bye at 2-2, it's not the worst situation in the world. We need to get healthy. What would be way worse to me is if Justin keeps hurting that ankle and it doesn't have time to heal, and he just continues this mentality of, I got to wreck my body and I got to put myself in terrible situations instead of learning how to preserve himself a little bit. But that's just my soapbox, man.
Yeah, well, I've yelled and screamed Harbaugh from the time they signed him. So, and again, like I said before, he forgot more football than I'll ever know. You know, but I think it's fair, because you just mentioned it. I think it's fair to, you say, I'm not giving up on the team. I'm not giving up on the coaching staff. But there was many that thought, including myself, that maybe Taylor Heineke should have started this game. Because, like you said, they're competitors. It's just like a boxer. Boxer is knocked down on the ground. He's He don't know where he is, but he can hear the referee ask him, "Are you all right?" He know he's not all right, but he's gonna say, "I'm all right," because he's a competitor. I want to keep fighting. You know, that's his natural instinct, is to keep fighting. You know, like the issue with Tua. You know, Tua has put out a statement, "I'm not retiring. I'm not retired." But everybody feels that he should, not because, you know, you're trying to tell this man what to do with his career. You're afraid of a bad situation happening on the field with him where it could be fatal. And then you also mentioned that Harbaugh has to own that. If you ask Justin Herbert, you want Justin Herbert going to tell him to play. If he have a broken rib or a broken thumb, a broken feet, he's going to try to go out there and play. But you have to make that decision, save him from himself, and say, listen, I would rather him had sit and let Heineke go through practice for the whole week, because it's an even bigger game next week against Kansas City, and I'm going to be there. And there's a strong possibility that Justin Herbert might not be able to play, because the injury is probably a lot worse than it was before a game yesterday. So I don't think you should be leading it up. I think you make the decision for athletes, because athletes lie all the time, and athletes will say, "Yes, I could do it," you know, and not realize that you actually would hurt your team. Now, granted, he did a very good job up until he got hurt. He was doing good. He's moving good. But then when the pocket started breaking down in the second half, he had no shot after that, because they couldn't protect him anymore.
And
that's why I said he got away from the run as well, because that also protects him when you hand the ball off too.
Yeah, and you could see him getting more and more uncomfortable throughout the game before the hit even took place, and the sacks started adding up. Like and that's how it is sometimes. I think they get those, whatever that shot is, they'll get before the game. Whatever happened, you know, it looked like it wore off. It looked like a different dude coming out for the second half. So it's heartbreaking for me. I mean, but you can't create a gladiator culture in a gladiator sport and then, you know, get mad at them when they make gladiator decisions. Like that's what you saw out of Justin Herbert. He did not want to come out of that game. He wanted to play. But again, someone's got to tell him, hey, part of us building this culture means that it's not all on you. This is a team effort. We need to build a group of guys that are going to drive the defensive line and the linebackers off the line of scrimmage, reset the line of scrimmage a couple yards downfield, punch people in the freaking throat. And that means we don't need you to be a hero all the time. We need you to be there for the postseason. We need you to be there for the big games sometimes. And you follow baseball, Stacey, you know, with your Mets, sometimes, you know, your bullpen gets taxed, and good managers have to make a decision. You know what?
Shots fired.
Oh, I haven't seen the Mets lately. I don't know if they.
No, they're doing all right.
Well, they are in general.
Yes,
I didn't mean to.
Well, their bullpen is their Achilles heel, so I thought you said.
Sorry,
the bullpen is their Achilles heel right now.
But you know, sometimes when your bullpen is taxed because you've overused the guys for a little bit, sometimes your manager will look at it and go, you know what, we got to take a loss today. Because if I take the loss today and just wear out one of our bottom tier relief pitchers, I'm going to get everybody back, and we're going to be better suited for the next 3 games. We're going to be able to fight through the next 3 games and pick up a couple wins that way. Yeah, I know it's a different sport. Every game means a lot more in football than an individual baseball game, but you still got to have that same mentality. Is trying to pick up this win going to put the next 4 in jeopardy? Because now we don't know how long it's going to take for Justin's ankle to heal. That's and the concerning thing, Stacey, was the comp that they kept using that I've heard in the broadcast that I read online, is that Patrick Mahomes played with this injury last year. It's a great example, but that was in the playoffs, man. Yeah, if it was the playoffs, I'd be like, Justin, you do what you got to do. I don't care. But in a week 3 game, when we're already 2-0 and we're 2 weeks from the bye, man, that's.
And it could cost you to miss the next couple of games.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. I mean, I agree. Some of the same things. I think sometimes having the skill set that Justin Herbert has sometimes can be a blessing and a curse. And the reason why I say that is because we know he's an outstanding quarterback and he can make all the crazy throws and everything else. We know he's a winner. But there's times that, I'm sorry, over the last few years now, Justin Herbert is starting to get a tag on him that he gets hurt all the time. He's been dealing with injuries every year. You need coaches, whether it was Brandon Staley or Jim Harbaugh, they would come out and tell the media, he's one of the toughest quarterbacks I've ever met, and he wants to go. But if he can't go because of his injury, you could be injured and hurt. If you're injured, them guys fight through injuries. If you're hurt, you're not helping the team if you're hurt. You know what I mean? And it's okay to sit him for a little while. So it's like, here we go again with the injuries. When you try to state the case in the media about the greatness of Justin Herbert, that's what they're going to always throw back. Yeah, but he got a lot. You look at Josh Allen, he take a lot of hits and everything else. But look, Josh Allen don't miss games. And Pat Mahomes, he play. So, and I know it's Monday morning quarterbacking it right now, but I believe I would have had no problem with him sitting and being ready for that big showdown with the Kansas City Chiefs. I really wouldn't have. Mm-hmm. And it didn't happen, and now it's a possibility you may miss the Chiefs game because of that.
Yeah.
You may lose two, where I thought maybe you had a shot to get one out of. So, it's tough, and I'm sure they'll figure it out. It was rough to see because I'm looking at a Jim Harbaugh-led team that pride themselves on being bullies, and they were in the home of the people that have been the bullies for decades. And by the way, before we go any further, and I want fans to see this. This was Mike Tomlin's presser, and I think you'll be impressed to hear, like, he gave the Chargers some very high compliments. And just listen to
we talked about it all week. We knew we were in for a fight. Styles make fights. They're assembled like we're assembled, and so they're playing great defense. We're playing great defense. We had to challenge our defense to outperform theirs. I thought they did. We got a commitment to the run game. Obviously, they came in with the league's leading rusher and the number one offense, and our offense had to outrush theirs, and we did. And that's why the game unfolded the way that it did. And so I'm just appreciative of the efforts of the guys. It was a fight, though, man. These guys are obviously well-coached and a talented group. It didn't happen instantly. We had to stay in it. But that's life and definitely life in the NFL. It's good to be 3-0 as we sit here. Obviously, we sustained some injuries and so forth prior to the game and in game. But that's ball in life as well. We spend less time worrying about the unfortunates that got hurt and like to spend our time focusing on those that get an opportunity to elevate and contribute. It's good to be in good contests like this, man. Good on good, 5-star matchups, if you will, and come out on the other side. There's growth in it. Styles make fights, and that's how these two teams and defenses are built. And so we didn't expect it to be easy sledding at any juncture, but we wanted to continue to pound the rock and hopefully break through, and it felt like we did there in the latter portions of the game.
I thought that was as a Charger fan, I felt good. It was like he's happy that they got the victory, but it was hard fought. And he mentioned several times they're built like us. It was hard. They're a great defensive team, 5-on-5, good on good. I like those things that he said. Those should be compliments to let, so Charger fans is going crazy. Listen, somebody had to win, somebody had to lose, but he's saying, hey, listen, we knew we had to be prepared and be at our best to do this because they're a very well-coached team. And I really respect that coming from Mike Tomlin.
Yeah. And the concerning thing to me was that fight that we are trying to trademark ourselves with felt like it evaporated when Justin Herbert was pulled from the game. And again, I don't know if that gets back to, could that have been different if the team expected to play behind Taylor Heineke? But it felt like both on offense and defense, the energy just left, and they did let themselves get physically and mentally beat. It almost looked as bad as, when we took down the Raiders in week one, that's the kind, we looked like we were on the receiving end of it.
Yeah. We overwhelmed them in the fourth quarter, and it happened to us now.
Stacey, my knees, man, my back, my body does not feel like what it used to be, but there's a man that smoked us at running back that's a converted wide receiver that at my age, you're younger than me, 33, he took us down in a couple key plays. Cordero Patterson, picked up some huge third down conversions. And I was like, that's not our team. That's not what we're not going to let, a 33-year-old running back convert do that to us, but we did. So it was.
He's a big boy too now. Cordell Patterson is not a small guy at all.
6'2", 220. I know.
Yeah,
But man, seeing a guy wearing 84 do that to you doesn't make me feel good. I'm like, man, I know he's bigger, but it just doesn't look good.
Yeah, some open field tackles we missed. There was some with Derwin James. He's right there, but he got the flag twice. The aggression is there. I see him flying around like he did his first 2 years in the league. So I think it's there. But Asante Samuel hurt us twice. That's the only touchdown we had gave up to the Oakland Raiders. And when you leave your feet like that, you just got your arms. Your foundation of power is below in your legs. That's your foundation of power. And when you leave your leg, when you jump in the air, you don't have nothing but your arms trying to tackle this guy. And I'm like, stop leaving your feet. I feel that way about running backs too. They go and trying to dive to get a first down. When you dive, you have no control. The ball gets stripped out or, so, I mean, it's something to learn. It's a lot of stuff that got to get cleaned up, but I'm proud of them. The Steelers didn't come in and just destroy us. It took like 3.5 quarters before they start actually dominating in the trenches, and we held our own. And then, the injuries, man, when Slater went out, which I'm concerned about him, even Brad Bozeman started getting the pocket pushed backwards. Justin couldn't step up into throws because the middle of the pocket started coming. So I'm like, wow, it's we can't stop it. It's overwhelming now. So, to get out of there with a 20-10, hard fought, you didn't give up that touchdown right to the very end. After a while, it breaks after a while. And and then you just forget about it and move on. And now you got to see what they can come up with against Kansas City, who's not playing all that well, but they win ugly. They win ugly. They win pretty. They going through some struggles. There's some chemistry issues going on with Kelsey and Pat Mahomes that people are constantly talking about. They haven't had that connection. And I think Rice had got hurt last night. But these guys just keep finding a way to win. And it's going to be a tough task next week. And I'm going to be there. Me and my son going to be at the game. And, man, one of the biggest reasons he wanted to go was to see Justin Herbert and in a showdown with Pat Mahomes. And it just sucks that, Herbert's probably not going to be in there, and he probably shouldn't be in there. So you rally behind Taylor Heinicke and hope that the defense can learn something from last week, and hopefully the injuries didn't kill us too much. I don't know the issue with Slater yet. I don't know the issue with Alt yet.
I didn't even think about your tickets until you just said that, man. That's a bummer.
Yeah, it is.
To fly across country to see a backup quarterback potentially. But hey, maybe you see a team, really come together and stick it to them in the trenches. That's what we can hope.
Hope so. Hope Joe Ortiz is on the horn, because I'm concerned about some of the injuries on the offensive line that you saw. Like they said, a pectoral muscle with Rashawn Slater, but you won't know till tomorrow morning. It was a lower leg injury to Joe Alt. Won't know until all the tests come back. And these are our two best tackles, So
and that's why could that have been why we got off the running game, Stacy? Would that collection of plays, that drive was after he strained his pectoral, right? Because I think he strained it right before the half. Because in that last Hail Mary,
he was coming in and out.
Yeah.
Sometimes you was in there, sometimes you wasn't in there, Man,
I don't want to be dealing with that so soon.
Yeah, I know, man. I know, next man up. I guess that's the only way you can look at it. You hope somebody can step. We keep talking about all this depth we had. Well, let's see it. We need to see it now, because we unfortunately got tagged pretty early. And if Slater can't go next week and Alt can't go next week, then let's see some of this depth we got. I mean, it's no other choice. You know what I mean? What other choice do you have? You got to go out there and play. Whether you got injury, every team has to deal with injuries. You heard Mike Tomlin saying we had some guys dinged up before the game, during the game, and after the game. But, we ain't going to harp on that. We got to get ready for next week.
Yeah. Slater definitely, when he was in, looked like he was struggling a lot more than what we normally see from him. He got pushed back. I mean, Nick Herbig got him for a sack that
Yeah.
caused that fumble. And that's not something we're used to seeing from him. And it stinks because this is his opportunity to get, vie for an extension. We do have his 5th year signed, but ideally you want to see Slater have a healthy, strong year because the guy deserves it. He's one of the best left tackles in the league when healthy. And it just stinks, to potentially see him fight through an injury all season like he did last year with the double high ankle sprain. But Zont's in the same boat. Zont, you got to calm down, man. Don't play desperate because you're in contract year.
Yeah.
He could easily be up for a $16 million a year extension if he plays smarter and doesn't, like you said, jump for those picks. Part of the problem, Stacey, is that's his identity because of that Jaguars game. He mentally probably sees himself as, a ball hawk, and that's how he's going to earn his bread. But man, you don't need to be. He's in receivers' hip pocket all the time. If you can just do your job, bring the ball carrier down, and then when the pick is there, take it, but don't force it. Like you said,
Kyle, I could see him doing that. I could clearly see him doing that. And it's a big move when you can jump the route and get the pick. It's big. But when it's 3rd down and you need to get off the field, it ain't time for none of that kind of. You have to just run through him and wrap him up and bring him down so that they can bring the field goal in. But by doing that, you allowed him to get into the red zone because you went for the ball. I mean, I know, look, I'm not out there on the field playing, but I do know that it's not if it's a gamble. When you go and jump the route and dive for that ball, you better get it. If you don't get it, you gave up a huge play. So I don't think it's worth it.
And like you said, he's leaving his feet, losing that ability to drive. That's how most of his tackles have been. In the first week, he did it once, I think, against Madison or somebody else. He did a little dive tackle on the sideline, and it looked nice. But then Madison knew that was coming the next time through, and that's when he gave up that touchdown. Madison just hurdled right over him. And it's like, okay, Zont, you're predictable now. People, they know how to play you. So how are you going to adjust? And he hasn't adjusted yet.
I'm kind of like, I fought hard during the off season for Joey Bosa, and he just keep getting hurt, man. He got hurt on the first play of the game. The first play, he tried to get around the tackle and bend low and come up under, and he got flattened to the ground and legs got caught up under him. It's just, I know he's not going out there to get hurt on purpose, but something just always seems to happen, man. And it's like, injuries just always derail us, man. And it felt like that again yesterday, like the here we go again. When you see Alt, when you see Slater, you see them put Pipkins on the other side. Then you see, Bosa was already done. I was like, oh my God, man. Like when they come, they pour in when they constantly start, but nobody's going to care about that. I'll be out in SoFi and rooting hard for them, man, knowing that Justin Herbert probably won't be there, but hopefully they can do it, man, and make our trip worthwhile by going out there,
Man, Stacey, I hope it works out for Joey to where he has a decent season for himself. But that's the game that you were fed up with Staley was with that Jaguars game.
Yeah.
I was in the same boat with Bosa there. I want, when Joey's on the field, he's one of the best in the game, but I don't have faith in his body holding up anymore. And I haven't.
Oh yeah.
Game.
Yes.
So for him to stick around on really bloated contracts in my mind is hard. And this year he took the pay cut and that was great. I still don't know if he would have made that on the open market is the real conversation that needs to be had with him at some point. Cause I think most teams, you see it with Clowney. He's had a really hard time getting money. Partially because, I don't know if the league doesn't see him as a finisher, more of just a guy that keeps getting to the quarterback, but not really getting the sacks or what. I don't know why Clowney has been somebody that just hasn't been able to break into the money yet, but a lot of 1-year deals for him. And I think Joey was going to need to take one wherever else he goes. And this year, if this trend continues, if we only get half of the season's games out of Joey healthy, I wouldn't count last game is a game. He suited up. He made it one play. He didn't make it through. We're probably going to be looking at having that conversation with him. Do you want to take a 1 year prove it here? Cause you're not getting that old cap number.
I don't think this is it for Joey in Los Angeles. I really do.
Yeah. I mean, it could be him going to, the Niners here after we release him and doing a 1 year prove it with his brother. And, he's not going to be making the money, but he's going to be stoked to be with his brother. That could be the kind of scenario we see play out. Who knows? But hopefully the guy can get it together and that it was minor. I'm tired of hoping for that personally. It's killing me, man.
But yeah.
To tell me it doesn't make us appreciate Mac though. The guy is an absolute stud.
Yes.
So hopefully, realistically, Stacey, that's probably the conversation we should be having. Joey's on the books for over 30. It's like 35 mil next year or something crazy. I haven't re-looked at it in a while. Yeah. But Mac is not, we can't franchise tag Mac and his contract expires. So despite his age, are you comfortable moving on from Joey and re-signing Mac and trying to get him extended? Or would you rather go to the draft or try to find a vet to fill that role?
Yeah, no, it's a lot of big decisions that have to be made. And, going into this season, they wanted to see what the coaching staff can do with these guys. And then I felt like the big jump wasn't going to happen to 2025. But my expectation this year, I'm saying with the people they have in place now, Harbaugh and them can win 9, possibly 10 games. I said that. I'm going to still stick to that. And everybody can't play defense like the Pittsburgh Steelers. So you're not going to be in that situation all the time like that, And as long as we didn't have major injuries and those guys can come back if they miss a game or two, you expect that. Miss a game or two is a violent sport. As long as we didn't lose them to the season, I still think that's still reachable, about 9 or 10 games. And then next year, you'll have all that money off the books. You do another good draft, and then, you can bring some impactful players in here that you couldn't do because of the cap this year. So, yeah, I think Joey will be gone. Joey's just a guy that's very talented, but he can't stay healthy, unfortunately.
Yeah. And you think they extend Mac?
It's going to be hard because of his age. You know what I mean? I like him, and he's steady. His body holds up. He's consistent. He's a great leader in the locker room. He's well respected across the league. But I don't know. I think after this year, you have to wait and see how the rest of the year plays out, and then I'm sure he'll make a decision afterwards. Now look at that. He wants to be on TV.
Oh man, somebody want to make a guest appearance, man. Deke, what are you doing, boy?
What's his name?
Deke.
Deke. Okay.
Deke, get out of here. That's Deke, and my other dog's name is Zamboni. They're 2 hockey dogs.
Okay, all right.
But I hear you. It's tough at that age.
It's tough. It really is. If they let him go, I understand. You're getting long in the tooth. Remember Joe Ortiz learning under Ozzie Newsome with Baltimore how they was building compensatory picks and all. They always let a guy go maybe a year before he start to decline. So, it wouldn't surprise me if they did. But look, he's become one of my favorite Chargers. He really have.
Yeah, same here.
Because everything he stands for.
Exactly. The risk of him being older is kind of hedged in my mind by how impactful of a leader he is and that he can rally that defense. Derwin's the vocal leader, right? But even Derwin's leadership doesn't hit me the same way that like Max does. Derwin's is just very, very high energy. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Mac is like no, this is how we're going to do it. And he's incredible in my mind. I'd love to see him here for as long as he wants to be. Yeah. But yeah. And the interesting thing about the compensatory picks though, when you're over 10 years in the league, you max out at a 5th round pick. So even if you were to sign for like 24 million, and it would normally be a 3rd round value, it drops back down to a 5th round pick. So that's something that might be on Ortiz's mind as well. 5th is still not bad, but we'll see.
Yeah. Let me ask you this one question before we go. Would you like to see more Brendan Rice? Because I'm out on Joshua Palmer. Joshua Palmer has been behind Mike Williams and Keenan Allen for a couple of years. He makes some good catches here and there, but when they were out the last month of the season and he had his opportunity to be that number one guy, he weren't able to do that. And then, again, he's another one that gets hurt all the time. Yeah. And Quentin Johnston is coming on. Quentin Johnston looks better and better every single week. He's had multiple weeks now where he scored more touchdowns. And so I'm saying I like Quentin moving into that role right now when Joshua is a guy that you can't count on, Yeah. So I'm ready to move past Joshua this year as well. I would like to see Brendan Rice. We haven't seen him in real game yet. Look, we ain't seeing much of Joshua because he's always hurt. I would like to see he was active yesterday, but we didn't see him on any of the plays. Put Brendan Rice out there, man. Let me see what he could do. Might be surprised. He might come out and make some big plays, but I don't like Joshua Palmer, man. I don't. I mean, you have to stay on the field and be able to produce to stay on the roster. And right now, he's not doing both. He's not staying on the field, and when he's on there, you're not getting nothing from him.
Yeah. And the one thing I got to give Palmer some love for is it does seem like he's really been putting a lot of effort into his blocking. I mean, it was him that started that Raiders brawl, right? Just because he put his helmet in the chest of who was it, Jones or whoever it was that he took out of the play blocking, and that really pissed him off and started a little scuffle. But yeah, I mean, the tough thing is Palmer's in the last year of his deal, and I think culture-wise, it's never a bad thing to try to let those guys that are on expiring contracts boost their value a little bit, show what they can do in the last year of their deal. And for Ortiz, that's going to mean hopefully Palmer gets to, preseason, I would have said hopefully Palmer gets to 1,000 yards, even if it's in a 17-game season. But if you looked at his efficiency numbers before, Stacey, if he just took somewhere around the target share, not the target amount, because we were going to be throwing less, but the target share, even with Justin throwing a lot less, he should have gotten just scraped over 1,000 yards if he kept up his old efficiency numbers. We're so far off of that, Stacey. Like you said, he's not doing anything this season so far. Yeah. So it breaks my heart to say it because I like pulling for vets to that are getting their first big chance to step up and elevate their game, but we haven't seen it yet. So I wouldn't be against seeing if Rice can what he can do. But like we've said, he's going to have to make it on some solid run blocking. That's where it's going to have to start and go from there.
I hear you. I mean, you're right. He do need people to block, but there's going to be times, and I just said it last week, there's going to be times you're going to face teams that's going to be able to put your running game in check. So now receivers, we need you to get out there and catch some balls to help your quarterback. And I'm sorry, I'm not seeing anyone other than Quentin Johnston, and every once in a while, Lance McConkey are the only ones that's doing it.
Mm-hmm. I like Lance McConkey, man. You channeling a little bit of Lance Allworth in there?
Oh,
I like McConkey. I like that, man. That's what we should start calling him. I like it.
Yeah, Lat McConkey. But I'm just saying, you were real confident when you had Everett and Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. You knew they were good. You knew they can get open. You knew they had good hands. You knew they knew what to do afterwards. You won't feel that confident now with the guys that you got, because if your quarterback is in trouble and say, hey, they are putting people in the box, they're stopping the run, I need you guys to, are you confident with? So I like what Quentin Johnston, I was hard on Quentin Johnston, but Quentin Johnston, you don't hear nothing about him dropping passes, and he's running routes better. He's getting open, and when he's getting open, he's not only making clean catches, he's making some tough catches too that he usually would drop. So I'm going to give him the love right now. Joshua Palmer, look, man, I've seen too much football, man. At some point, I don't want to be complacent. I'm tired of it. I want guys that's going to be able to get out on the field and produce. And if you can't, I don't care who you are. I would rather not see you. I would rather give a Brendan Rice an opportunity for somebody who every time you turn around, he's on. Because Papa will let you know. I don't see, you look at those tweets, I don't see Joshua Palmer on the field. Oh, Joshua Palmer off the work on the side. He got his knee heavily wrapped, and he got his ankle heavily wrapped. Oh, they said now he got an elbow. He gonna let you know what he see when he out there, and it's the same thing with Joshua Palmer all the time. It's like, my goodness, man. Put some hockey gear or something on and go out on the field. You know, put some elbow pads and some knee pads. But I just want to see the team win. That's all, Kyle. I just want to see the team win. I want to see guys go out there and bust their tail and do what they got to do. And I'm sorry, as much as you know how much I love Joey Bosa, if Joey Bosa going to get hurt every 3 plays, then what good is he being on this roster?
Yeah.
You can't help us if you're on the side. If you're on the sideline, you in street clothes all the time with a ball cap on your head. You can't help us.
And you got when somebody repeatedly, consistently tells you who they are, if you don't listen, that's your choice, and that's your mistake. You're at fault at that point. And again, I want to be wrong about Joey. I want to see him be healthy and have a great year, but I wouldn't bet my own money on it. So I hope Ortiz doesn't bet the Chargers money on it moving forward. So that's the soapbox on that one, man. It breaks my heart because when we traded for Mac, that was such an exciting idea of seeing
those two together.
Yeah. And now we have these other pieces in that room that make it so exciting as well. Having that call it the fever package, or some other coaches have called it that. I think it was John Gruden. When you've got Morgan Fox in the middle and all of our edges lined up together at once, man, that's an exciting package. But it takes a step back without Bosa. Thule's still significant. Man, we didn't even get to that. But Zont taking away a Thule sack, that stunk. That was with the holding penalty. I mean, Thule got to him and got that sack, and that's one sack off of his stat sheet, which is never fun for him, for a young guy that you want to see really elevate his game and step up. But I'm
like, wow, man, we getting so undisciplined right now. We getting penalty after penalty. Like, come on, man. You know, you guys are better than that. But you let it go, man, and you move on. You got other things in life to do. You know, life is more than just a football game. You get your emotions, you deal with it with your hour or two that you need to detox. And after that's over, you move on, man, because you got other things that you got to do. And that's one of the things why I love doing this podcast, because you get your frustrations out. You get to get out how you feel and in that moment and what you think about the team, and then you're done with it. Now you are right. The only thing that made me feel better yesterday, and I'm being totally honest, and I'm not taking shots at any of the Raider fans, but the only thing that made me feel a little bit better about yesterday is seeing the Carolina Panthers beat the brakes off the Las Vegas Raiders in their house. And that made me feel good. Even better when Antonio Pierce got up there and said they were making business decisions all day. Like they were scared to tackle the Carolina Panthers. I was like, wow, man. That's crazy. And he said he's going to make some business decisions, meaning we're going to start sitting people or cutting people. I was like, good. I like that. Keep on fighting and on the infighting.
It sucks for Bryce Young, though. That's a brutal look for Young.
Sure, because Andy Dalton came in and lit it up, man.
Yeah,
he really did, and that's an indictment on Bryce, man. It really is.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie,
like Stacey. The team rallied around him, man. They did make a lot of offseason trades, brought in some free agents. Everybody thought this team was going to be pretty good. The way they played the Raiders, that's what people thought they were going to be this year.
Yeah, and they upgraded their offensive line pretty well. So you were thinking that they would be a little bit tougher in the trenches. So to see them really capitulate and not do well against us was surprising. I'm not going to lie, Stacey. I kind of felt the other way about it.
Okay.
I felt like we knew what the Panthers were and we were okay steamrolling them a little bit. Mm-hmm. Not that I ever root for the Raiders, but right now that's our best win. So I was hoping that like we'd see similar that I'd watch them play and be proud that we beat them. And yesterday, I wasn't that proud that we beat them if they got steamrolled like that by the Panthers. So I was kind of torn, man. I was conflicted. So
with the win to the Raiders?
With the Panthers stepping on the Raiders, I kind of want the Raiders to look like a tough team when they're playing other teams. So when we harken back to when we, served it up to them, it feels like, okay, we did have a really good win. Now our 2 wins are against 2 teams that are 1-2, right?
I will never apologize for a loss. I don't care if we beat the Bad News Bears. I'm not apologizing for it because they all count. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I know it wasn't a good look for the Raiders, but that ain't what the Raiders look like when we played them.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what the Raiders look like when the Baltimore Ravens played them.
It shows you the parity is crazy, man.
Yes. It's just sometimes, man, you get up out of bed and you say today ain't a good day and you take off work because you just don't feel right. Well, you know, in sports, those guys, you know, you get out there on the football field, you could just have a bad day. We know in football, the worst team in the league could beat the best team in the league on any given day.
Mm-hmm.
Don't mean you're better. Don't mean Carolina better than the Raiders or nobody else. But if you don't go out there and prepare and do the things that you have to do to get yourself ready to play a game and you looking past Carolina, they'll beat your ass.
Yeah.
And
like you said, the Chiefs they're probably the favorite right now to win the Super Bowl. But each game, just like last year, they do not look dominant they have been in the past. But they still keep
find a way to win
those wins, man.
Yes. And that's the only thing that matters, man. Like, look, if we didn't look good every week, but we kept winning, I wouldn't care.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, I would want to look better. But at the end of the day, right, the only thing that matters is to win.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing that matters. Nobody cares how you do it, as long as you win. You can look like we did with the Steelers, how the Steelers did. It was tough. It went down to like the final 5 minutes of the game. Or it can look like, you know, look at Baltimore. I looked and they were blowing out Dallas Cowboys so bad, I switched to another team. And then next thing I know, I go look at the ticker and see they only down by 3. But you know what? You never know. Upsets happen all the time. We're division teams. And I know Harbaugh is going to do the best he can to make sure that this team don't go out there and lose 2 in a row. Because if you're going to do something record-wise really good, you can't pile up losses, but you need to pile up a couple of wins. So you need to win. You won 2, you lost 1. You don't want to lose 2 more now in a row. You need to get back on the winning side, you know. Yeah. So I'm hoping that we can. We'll see what happens.
We'll find out a lot about Jesse Minter this week, I think.
Yes.
You know, the defense struggled in that fourth quarter. All of a sudden, it looked like the Steelers could do no wrong.
Right.
If we need something to look for this week, let's see how Jesse Minter responds and gets his defense prepared for the Chiefs.
Absolutely. Well, that wraps up another episode of Chargers Talk 4630. Please don't forget to log on to stormcloud.blog if you're looking for more Chargers content. We will be back Friday to discuss the showdown with the Kansas City Chiefs and hope we can find a way to become victorious and go to 3-1 heading into the bye. If you haven't subscribed to us yet, please do that now before exiting this podcast. And as always, be good, be safe, be well. Enjoy the rest of your week. I'm Stacy. This is Cal. Peace and boat up.